In this episode, what we want to cover is to talk about the process of how we went about designing the backpack. It can be summed up into 6 different components. Inspiration. For inspiration, we looked at thousands and thousands of backpacks. We went into shops, we looked at the streets. I don't even know how many backpacks we looked at. Probably 1,000, 2,000. We put together a Pinterest board of every single backpack that we've ever found that matched an aesthetic or was something that we liked or were inspired by. Here's some examples. 1,425 pins. I don't know why this one's better. This is kind of like it's like a zipper on the back of their shirt that you can pull off, but it looks like you need the help of somebody else to pull off. We just had a lot of stuff on here. Customer feedback. Customer feedback was something that was really important to us to really understand what people wanted and what their needs were in a backpack. For this, we really used Instagram to its full extent. We DM'd a ton of people every day and talked to hundreds of people in total, asking them things like, what's your favorite backpack? What does your perfect backpack look like? What would your dream backpack look like? To really find out what people wanted in a backpack and what was something we could make. We had all these great conversations with people on Instagram. They gave us a lot of really useful feedback, and what we did was we took that and we put all that feedback in a spreadsheet where we noted down what everyone said about their favorite backpack. Something like this. My dream backpack is something where a place to put my laptop and charger. Backpacks don't really have a place for your charger, which is kind of bad. It would also be black and fashionable, not an obvious backpack. Customer feedback is super, super important to everything that we do, and it's something that we're going to continually keep asking people as we prototype our backpack and as we kind of bring it throughout every single stage. Finding the shape. Finding the actual shape of the backpack that we want to use was kind of a longer process than we anticipated. We wanted a shape that would be unique, but at the same time not something that would be too out there where we would alienate some people who otherwise would want our backpack. This is one of the early files we put together where we were experimenting with different shapes that we could work with, from flaps to folds, to different details, Phillip Blim, shoulder bags, wide openings. We then started playing around with different shapes that the backpack could actually look like, from rounded ones to more rectangular shapes, to a rectangular back and a rounded front. It took us a bunch of rounds to get right because we needed to really try out different shapes before we end up landing on this one where we felt like this shape of like a round here, but it's slightly indented and it's another rounded bit here, was something that we could then work with. Functionality, aka the power bank. Functionality was also a hard part because we needed to figure out how do we create a backpack with the right features, as well as a really thoughtful experience around how do you charge your phone as you go, but not compromise on the aesthetics and figure out a way to merge them together. We ended up going to China, buying a ton of cheap fake backpacks and basically cutting them up to see what it would look like in different ways. One example here is we took this backpack and we were cutting to experiment what it would look like if there were different zipper openings. So here we tested a more horizontal zipper opening versus a vertical zipper opening. All of testing the zipper opening was there's different ways that people can actually access their power bank. And we wanted to find a really easy way where you could open your backpack, charge your phone, not even have to take your backpack off. What we learned from doing that was the best way for people to actually access things from their backpack when they're on the go with the strap still on is to put a pocket right here so they can open it, they can still have one strap on, and they can get stuff out, which is where we decided to put our power bank. The other issue that we ran into was how are the cords actually going to work. So we tested a lot of different cords, from this like super colorful fashionable cord thingy to ones that go to this one, which is basically a cord that you can open and then it goes back to its normal length. This is something that we ended up wanting to use, so we still need to test this a little more. Fabrics. The other hard part was actually finding the materials we wanted to use, from which ones are we gonna put in the backpack to which factories and manufacturers are we gonna find the materials from. We ended up deciding to go with Saffiano leather and nylon as the 2 fabrics that we want to experiment with. But in order to make sure that we got our samples correctly, we actually had to cut up different pieces of, this is nylon, this is a little piece of Saffiano leather that we cut off from a wallet. This is another piece of Saffiano leather, but you can see there's a difference in quality. This is a cheap $15 one, and this is a more expensive one, but you can definitely see there's a difference in the quality and the texture of the leather. And that was something we didn't know going into it, but now as we get samples and we start actually manufacturing it, it's good to know this is good, this is not so good. And the details, because it's all about the details. So we finally come to 2 designs that we're gonna then take to our manufacturers and prototype. First version is full Saffiano leather. The other option we're considering is a mixture of nylon and leathers. All in all, as someone who's never made a backpack before, every stage of this process has been a really good and interesting learning experience. But now we're taking it into prototyping, manufacturing, and sourcing the fabrics and sourcing the hardware. So that's gonna be another chapter that we're gonna explore soon.